Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Jazakumullah khair. How are you all?
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. Allah yabarik feek. Allah yabarik feek. Okay, perhaps before I start, uh, Okay, maybe it could be a good idea if we, you know, collaborate in our video. Um, okay, how do I put this? Okay, let me start with saying this. Usually when you come to the classroom, uh, the, the real classroom, it usually, of course, some of you always want to sit in front, right? You do that?
Yes, sir.
Some of you comfortable sitting at the back, it's okay. Some of you comfortable, I mean, want to sit at front. So, so would it be possible if I ask you to just, for those who wants to come to the front row, those who wants to come to the front row, of course we don't have front row here, of course it's a virtual class online. Perhaps I can ask you to show your video. Those are comfortable with it. Not everybody, not necessary everybody to show your video. At least those are comfortable. Uh, Open your video and collaborate in the classroom. All right, let me see how many turn out. Yeah. Uh-huh. There is no front row in our classroom. Okay, prepare yourself. If you are not in that position, maybe prepare yourself and then slowly uh, come in front. Yeah, just join us virtually by opening your video. Yes, whoever can, whoever, not everybody, whoever possible to come. Yeah. Haha, no one? Okay, let me call some name. Uh-huh. Ayman,
Sir?
what are you
Oh,
doing?
sir.
Ah, yes, yes.
I can turn on my camera, but I'm actually having lunch, sir. So if you can give me like 3 to 5 minutes.
It's okay. No problem. You can have your lunch while you show your video. It's all right. I know you're all comfortable at home. It's okay to be comfortable.
So you want
Just,
me to open my camera, sir?
yeah, few people at least. At least up to 5 or 10. Yeah. Don't, it's okay. Those who are not interested is okay. Those are interested at least. I mean, I know. It's just asking you so that I am not talking to a computer. Right? I hope it's not too much to ask. All right. You can mute your sound. Just only the video. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So whoever are ready, just to come, just come lah. Maybe few. I just need few faces only, not many. All right. So let us start. I'm going to record this, so for those who are not able to attend, you can go back to the YouTube. Yeah. All right. Okay. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd. All right. So we are still in the briefing week. So it's some sort of background um, course. The course background of our course. I mean, we are discussing. Last class we discussed the summary of the whole semester, right? So the what we are going to learn for 12 weeks. By the way, it is not 14. It has been reduced to 12 weeks. So I think so we probably you may not have the revision week, probably, I think, or maybe you have few days for the revision week. That's
So
because
we're
of
having 2 days for revision.
2 days only, yeah.
Yeah, 2 days.
I see. I'm so sorry. Yeah, but we will finish. We will try to finish early so that I think I'll give you more time for revisions, if possible, inshallah. Okay. Usually you get 1 week, like 10 days, but this time I know everybody is struggling with this delay that we are supposed to start our semester in September. Now we are starting in October. All right. So last class I was discussing with you the summary of the entire semester, right? So I was telling you that why we are actually doing this course, how actually the name history of Islamic economic thought is actually coming to fit into this course. So now we are going into our first chapter, which actually we are going to talk about the philosophy of Islamic economic thought. All right. So today what I have is actually, so before I go into in detail, today what I'm going to give you is actually basically only three figures, three diagrams that I'm going to share with you. With these three diagrams, I think what you're gonna learn today is actually perhaps it is also a continuation of the question that our good brother asked last class. Very good question, right? So so we are going to look into what modern conventional economic thought has been structured, in what way that they actually portray themselves, and why is it actually we are not there, right? So if you want to talk about the history of economic thought, now the course is, I know, history of Islamic economic thought, but there are so many universities and institutes, they actually offer the course history of economic thought. By economic thought they are referring to the conventional economic thought. Now when they actually show that the history, so I think this is the diagram that I'm showing you right now. This is similar to this figure that actually what they are going to propose. This is actually what economic thought, this is how we actually, of course they also say that it is not Adam Smith, it is even before Adam Smith. They are actually referring to the history of, starting from Aristotle. Like I told you last time, that there is a need that we need to learn economic ideas from ancient Greece, and we need to discuss the major tenets of the Greek philosophers, starting from Hesiod, Xenophon, and Aristotle, Plato. These are the human Democritus. So these are the philosophers actually that we need to discuss. I'm telling you now, especially this figure actually, we need to see where exactly is the history of Islamic economic thought. But by looking at this, you don't see it, right? So look at it. For example, they said it started from philosophers. So they mention it is Aristotle. So by mentioning Aristotle, they mention the entire Greek philosophers, right? So you know that the timeline of Greek philosophers, it's before 350 BC, right? So you may have a 500, or maybe you may have a 850. Maybe you can call it like this: from 850 BC to 322 BC. I think you know why I'm actually giving you a big number and a small number, because it is BC. You know that. So entirely, if you look into that, it is a few centuries before Jesus was born. Hazrat Isa alayhi salatu wasalam was born. So basically, they have Greek philosophers, and then they have also the other side is actually Byzantine, the Roman philosophers. So so they have this philosophy that they call it Greek or a Roman. According to our idea, last week we discussed, anything that good, any good values that is actually has been spread out in this universe is only because the creator wanted to make it. That's the reason why he is the one. Ar-Rahman allamahul bayan, khalaqal insan wa allamahul bayan, right? So he is the one who created man, and then he is the one who taught him the bayan. So bayan is actually it's everything, all kind of knowledge, right? Allama adamul asma al husna, right? He actually taught Adam alayhi salatu wasalam all sort of asma is actually you can't simply translate asma into nouns or verbs. You cannot simply translate the word asma. That's why when I talk to you, when I say in Arabic terms, let's say I say taqwa, how do you translate the word taqwa into English? It's very difficult. Do you want to say fear? Do you want to say conscious? Do you want to say pious? Do you want to say righteous? It's actually everything. Part of taqwa is fear. Part of taqwa is conscious. So if you look into this perspective, I think you can't even translate the entire Quran into. There is no 100% authentic translation available, because it is impossible. You can say close to Arabic translation, close to Quran, maybe 90%, maybe 80%, maybe 70%, right? That's because even Allah said himself, inna anzalnahu qur'anan arabiyyan la'allakum ta'qilun. So Allah wanted the Arabs to understand properly. So the real understanding comes from Arabic word. So that is the idea, of asma, the word al asma, Adam al asma. So now Allah, when say he taught asma, we only know that you can say that according to the interpretation, we can say the words. It could be the words, it could be the nouns, it could be the philosophy, it could be the ideology, it could be everything, all sort of sciences. Is it only social sciences? Is it only applied sciences? These are the things that we actually classify according to our knowledge, according to our need. We actually say this is human science, this is applied sciences, yeah. And then we have medical sciences, we have so we have pharmaceutical sciences, and then the other side we have management sciences. So many things that we actually classified into so many. But originally speaking, Allah has taught everything to man. So if there is anything that good about Greek philosophy or Roman philosophy, all those good must be conveyed by the prophets, because prophets, what is the job of the prophets? The prophets are the one who brought the hikmah, the wisdom, to the human being. They were given this wisdom, they were given this book of wisdom, and then they came to people and then they conveyed the message. Yeah, this is what actually has been done. So there's a possibility that in next week when we talk about the Greek philosophy, and then I'm going to give you a few names of the Greek philosophers, there's a possibility one of them could be a prophet. We don't know that because Allah didn't talk about them. Allah said there are many things that you don't know. We only told you, we only telling you those that you need. So maybe Allah didn't talk about the prophets in China. Allah didn't talk about the prophets in India. Allah didn't talk about the prophets in European countries. Maybe it's not necessary because he wanted to. He actually focusing. He is actually facing the Arabs, and then he talks about the prophets of Sham, the prophets of Egypt, the prophets of Tunis, the prophets of the surroundings, Yemen, other places. So he talks about all those prophets that related directly to Jews and Christians and then Arabs. Yeah. So what I'm trying to tell here that yes, those are the Greek philosophy or Roman philosophy. Those are whatever the right things are there is actually also from the Creator. Okay, that's one side. Then they are bringing Bible, right? Aristotle. Then they are bringing the Bible. So if you look at the Bible, yes, then that Bible, of course, it is actually Injil, right? That's what we call Injil. Is actually given, revealed to Hazrat Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. They call Jesus. So now, if you look into these two, one is actually philosophy, the other one is actually religion, right? Then you have scholars like Thomas Aquinas, 1270. This group of people, the one who followed Thomas Aquinas, Saint Thomas Aquinas, he is the one who actually bringing the science and religion together, right? Philosophy and religion together. So these people called scholasticism, scholastic, right? You need to remember the word scholasticism, scholastic. So these scholastic people, there are so many, and one of them is actually Thomas Aquinas. Then he actually also combining these two, philosophy and religion, science, philosophy and religion. Then he is bringing up. Then you need now the practitioners, right? So when it comes to the practitioners, then the business people, the people who actually trading, who actually most of the time how it was done. It was actually done mostly it was done like trading, importing and exporting. What they do, that those days, if you remember the story of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam before the Nubuwah, before he became 40, he was actually sent to Syria and other places for trading, because he was actually taking the Amwalu Khadija, the Prophet's first wife, Khadija radiallahu anha. Before the marriage, he was the person who takes the products, the properties of Khadija radiallahu anha, and then he goes around, and then he goes to other markets, other countries, and then he sells, and then he returns with profits, and then he share. So he was basically doing murabaha, right? So now that those days, this is actually they have they have cattle, they have actually carts, business and carts, and they need to bring it. What most of the time they do is actually barter exchange. So this barter exchange actually, giving things and taking things, whatever the things that is not going to be spoiled, if it is actually meat and vegetables, they cannot take those things. So but they will take other things like textiles, leather items, some other, like especially asas, they call it asas, mean furniture items, those things, even sometimes gems, and also gold and silvers and those kind of things. Yeah, they actually take it, and then they go and then they do the barter exchange. So this is what they actually do. So now if you see so many Europeans coming back, and then they have to do some trading, right? And then they started selling something. They started selling through seas. Of course, the sea is actually the fundamental route for business, especially that how Muslims in India, they became Muslims because of the traders. They came to a place called Kerala, back in India, I think that is the first place where they go. Even from Mecca, if you look into Yemen, from Yemen to India, there is a straight line, which actually straight lane, which actually transportation through ocean. The sea roads. So they come directly, and then even there is a story that there was a king. He actually embraced. He actually became Muslim, because he saw the event of Shaq al-Qamar. Shaq al-Qamar, I think some of you know. Prophet ﷺ was once asked to split the moon. If you know the story, he was asked to split the moon, and then with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he was able to do that. He actually split the moon into two pieces. And then there was a king called Chera, back in India at that time, the real time when Prophet ﷺ was living in 7th century. And then later some Arab traders came and talk about Islam. All right, when he talked about Islam, the traders were talking about Islam, and then the traders said that there is a man called Muhammad, and he is actually bringing this religion called Islam, and he said we should not do shirk and this and that, so many things, and he's actually not respecting. He's not respecting the people of the ancestors, because ancestors actually doing the shirk, and then he says that to throw away all those idols and this and that. Then he also, the traders started talking about the Shaq al-Qamar. They said that he also said he can actually split the moon, but we didn't see it, so people are talking that he split it. Then when the story reached to the king of Chera, and that time in India, and then he actually listened to the story, and then because he said, I literally saw when I was in my place, in my palace, I literally saw that thing was happening. So today I came to know that it was actually that the story has a connection to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then he came back, and then he said, I want to meet Prophet. Then all the way he went to Medina, and then he became Muslim. There are some very few sources are saying that there were some king of India came with some pickles, because this ginger and pickles, is very quite famous that time. So they brought those things as a hadiyah and gave, and then they became Muslim. But unfortunately, when the king was coming back, he actually died on the way back in Yemen, somewhere in Yemen. But he actually told his friends that when you go back, you need to go back and then build a mosque. So remember, back in India, right now in that place, actually we have a masjid that was built during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was built that time. Since now the masjid is very very old masjid, but we have that masjid in Kerala somewhere. You can call Kerala or Malabar the oldest masjid in India, or masjid in India, of course, not masjid in India. So that is the story. You need to know that the people who came selling something, trading, because even this story when I discussed with our president, because our president of IIUM, Dato Sri Daud Bakar, he actually know the story, and then he asked me to look into it, and he was very surprised to know, because he said his ancestors also came from that side, from Sri Lanka, from Kerala, then he was very much happy to share actually the message. Anyway, I'm just trying to tell you that because of that, those traders came through India, and then because of that, mashallah, Islam came all the way to this region and everywhere. So what I'm trying, and then they also, Sahaba went to China, they traders, they came to Malaysia, they came to so many other places, Indonesia, and then mashallah, because of that trade, Islam actually came into existence. Now you need to understand how important trade is. So now we have this group of traders. We call them mercantilists in 17th and 18th century, and then we have these physiocrats, Then these mercantilists and then physiocrats, they are the one actually in during 17th, 16th, 15th century. These are the people are actually doing the business, tradings and everything. They started doing, bringing the policies. They started, doing negotiation, this and that, and then they started making this supply and demand. These are the things was happening. There are so many things actually. One by one, we will look into one by one, inshallah. I'm just giving you the summary of this this particular subject. All right. Then from there only we have the classical school of economic thought came out, which is actually Adam Smith in 1776. Let me just show you one more slide. Perhaps you can relate. Okay, the other one is this one. All right. So this one, if you see. Of course, this one actually you can clearly see there is a Greek philosophers, and then you have Roman lawgivers, yeah, and then you have this biblical time. So these three things together, you have the philosophy, you have the ruling, you have the religion. All these things came into Middle Ages. Then you have the church, Aquinas, and then scholasticism. This scholasticism is the one actually mingling of this religion and the ruling and the philosophy together. Then you have the rise of national states. These are the time 12th to 15th centuries, the 300 years. These are the time that the national states actually started rising. This is the time also many Islamic Muslim scholars also talk about the national states like Asaba, discussed by Ibn Khaldun. Those are the things are there, mashallah. Ibn Khaldun talks about these national states, because when he talk about Asaba, he also recently someone nicely, he wrote, someone from Turkey, he wrote that is it America now, is it the civilization is falling, like by looking into America? Is it what Ibn Khaldun says many centuries ago? So he just want to connect what Ibn Khaldun says and what's happening today. So because Ibn Khaldun talk about Asaba, right? This Asaba is actually of course today we are talking like I'm Indian and he is Malaysian, he's a Bangladeshi, he is actually Chinese. These are the groupism is already there, and because of this groupism we were able to build our community, build our culture, build our tradition, right? So now of course like for example people say buy Indian, be Indian, like for example buy Chinese, be Chinese, or buy Malaysian, be Malaysian. So these are the things are there, and we are helping, collaborating each other. Because of that you can say that the nationality is happening, right? This Asaba is actually what? This is not Ta'assub. This is Asabiya. Asabiya is actually looking into your own groupism. Like people are actually race. They have the races. Now even sometimes they are the same race, but they may have so many differences. You want to see, there are so many examples. Of course you cannot only say that people are good with the race. But there's a possibility people are the same race but still they are against each other. Like for example North Korea, South Korea, same race but each other. Pakistan and India, same but fighting each other. There are so many other examples also I can give you, so many like that. People in neighboring countries also hitting each other, this and that. So it's not about race, it's about the country, the nationality. Maybe they go with that. So let's say if everybody lives in the same place, let's say there is a city, then all those city people helping each other, they will say that okay, you are, even today also the Asabiya is available. For example, if you go to some city and you wanted to have a business and you wanted to start renting a place, then there might be a question, where are you from? Are you from this city, that city? Okay, you are coming from the other city but you want to do business here. Why? So let us give priority for those who are from this city. That Okay, so these are the things. Why I'm telling this, because this is important to understand the history. Because Ibn Khaldun talks about it. I know we will talk about Ibn Khaldun in ninth or 10th week. All right, no need to wait until that time. All right, the things are happening so fast. I don't know how long we have in this world. Right, so wherever possible, I just want to share with you, because Ibn Khaldun actually talks about it. He talks about, this asabiya. He says that, like human being, we have a life. So we've been small, we've been infant, and then child, and then adult, and then teen, and then became adult. Then we became mature. When we were top of the mature, once we reached like 45, 50, top of the mature, and we started declining slowly, we have the illness, we have, the back pain, we have the leg pain, this and that, our eyesight's going slowly. So after 50, 60, you become weak and weak and weak. By 70 and 80, you become very weak. Of course, there are exceptional, like mashallah, we have few people in Malaysia, mashallah, amazing. Even though they are 93, 97, no one can stop them. All right, few exemptions are there, but totally speaking, collectively speaking, yes. So these are the things, of course, when you look at the human life, you can see that human life is actually, you become mature once, and then you have to slowly go down. You need to slowly go down, because you will fall down. You will. So Ibn Khaldun talks about this. Amazingly, he says that, yes, there is a possibility that any nationality, any groupism, yes, they are very strong together. They will build their economy together. They will build their society together. They will go to the peak, and then slowly they actually fell down. Same like the human being. The civilization will fall. So because he is the first historian, the one who criticized, looking into history. How do you look? Because there were so many other historians. They started writing the report of days and years of the people, how they live. They were actually recording, writing the story of those people, how. But Ibn Khaldun is the first person, looking into different. He was looking into the story, and then he started looking into the reasons of falling, reasons of rising, and then he talks about it. So Ibn Khaldun, when he talk about the falling of a civilization, then he says that it's same like a human being, like human falling. So one day will come, the things will fall down. So now you look at Russia, for example. If you know about the strength of Soviet Russia, maybe I also don't know, because I was not living that time. Maybe if I ask my father or my grandfathers, then they will know one time Russia was everything. Soviet Russia was far and far and far stronger entity. Today you can see that it's broken into many pieces. Yeah. So right. So the same thing. That's amazing article that I read. I really enjoy reading. He says that the America might be doing this, but who knows? Maybe tomorrow the things may go down. And I myself, in my experience also, I have seen so many changes like that. I don't want to just put only to the country. I also want to tell you this. Even sometimes some companies also may go start, and then going up on the top, and then top business, and one day has to go down. If you know about, let's talk about the technology, like for example, Nokia, for example. I don't know whether you know Nokia or not, because when I was 20s, of course, a few years back, we always run behind Nokia. We were waiting to see the new launch of Nokia, when it will come. They have the slide phones, they had the buttons here and there. We used to see that. But today I'm just thinking, where is it actually? What happened to Nokia? Right? It was actually in the top of the business, and today we don't know where it is actually. So Remember that everything is like that. If maybe today, mashallah, Google is doing it, maybe Apple is doing it, iPhone is doing it, but look at the reality. It has to go down. It has to go down one day, and then somebody else. So here actually I remember the Quranic verse very much related. فَوْقَ ذِي كُلِّ عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. فَوْقَ ذِي كُلِّ عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. So if you think you are the best, you know everything, remember that there is somebody better than you who knows better than you. This is what Allah says. So it has to come. So the reason I wanted to bring this here, because look at these centuries, rise of national states. Of course, this is what actually there were nationalities given, and then Asabiya came, and then started falling, started improving when it came. The beginning of the modern capitalism was there. So when there was a modern capitalism, then you had English mercantilism, and then in German people they call it cameralism, and then the French people they call it Colbertism, and then you had these physiocrats. Physiocrats also a kind of French kind of initiative. So these are the things are there. Then from so many ideologies, then Adam Smith was able to write Wealth of Nation in 1776. So this is what actually economics actually came into mainstream. So now by looking at this picture, just the reason I wanted to bring this picture as a brief to what we are going to talk about in next week. Because I want you to know that there is no place for Islamic economic thought. Look at it. This is what actually in any economic school of thought, in any economic school that talking about economic thought, they will only share this. They will only. I didn't want to take this away from you, because I didn't want to just talk to you about Islamic economic thought is there, this is it. No, I want you to be, because I don't think you are learning economic thought as a separate course. Do you have any separate course that you actually learning economic thought? Let me know if you have anything. I know here and there you learn something, mashallah, but as a economic thought, you don't have separate classes for economic thought, isn't it? So when we talk about Islamic economic thought, of course we are going to talk about those scholars who contributed to economic thought, but I want to also give you the reality of what actually today's economic scholars think about Islamic economic thought, because they don't give us any space. This is what actually was a big issue at the beginning of 19th century, when the records has been started collecting, when they started writing books about economic thought. They didn't actually bring any Muslim scholars' names, and we totally been forgotten. We've been abandoned. So this is what actually this is the true story. This is what actually happened. So I think that's why we need to understand, this is how everybody understand the economic thought, and we need to know where exactly we are. All right, so to bring you where exactly we are, then let me just bring you the next slide. I think that would be the last slide for today. This is the one. All right, okay. So now you can see that this is actually where exactly, this is actually the place of Muslim scholars in the family tree of mainstream economics. Now we need to put that thing in between, according to the time, chronologically speaking. Remember, I also told you I didn't want you to be away from the real essence of this course. I'm not actually, we are not, the reason why we actually made this course as a fundamental, as a core course for the department. It is very important that because you are our agent. Tomorrow I don't think many I don't think many universities actually teaching this course. I don't think it's quite. Um, I know many universities are teaching a fiqh. I know they are talking about fiqh. They talk about mu'amalat because it's related to Islamic finance. All right. So I don't think how many universities outside, institute outside actually talking about our contribution to this, because that's why you are our agents, and you are not taking this course just because you need to get your core course passed or maybe some for grade. No, it's not for that, because it is actually you need to become our voice outside, and you need to, because tomorrow you could become, mashallah, professors in economics. Maybe one of you may, or not one of you, many of you may go and get the Nobel Prize, right? So recently, recently we had this, right? There was a two professors actually, they are getting the Nobel Prize. Do you know why they are getting the Nobel Prize? Let's ask this question. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
If I'm not mistaken, they're getting the Nobel Prize for rewriting the models for auction.
Mashallah. Okay. Good. Good. And
That's all I can remember.
okay, I think you got the point. Of course. Anybody else want to add more? Okay. Okay, I know you're all very good listeners, yeah? Okay, so I think, yeah, you are right. Thank you so much for telling me that, representing the whole class, actually, you are telling. Yes, these two gentlemen, professors, actually talking about, auction, and also the practices, especially they improved the theory at the same time. They also improve the practices. That's the reason why it's not only about writing, it is also about the going into the industry, and then understanding it, and then showing the practices, so that if someone put it in this way, the way that I understood, I just want to convey to you. You can correct me if I'm wrong. If someone want to buy a land, because there is a well of oil, for example, let's say, I don't know, that example, I don't think is the right example to say, for the purpose of sustainable development goal, we should be stopping fossil fuel usage, isn't it? But anyway, that was the example given in their work. Let's say if someone is actually buying well of oil well. Now how is going to, now it's coming for the bidding, auction is there. Let's say they are saying that this land for 1 billion, and then but the problem there is actually you don't know how much oil in there. You will only know how much oil in there only after you buy the land, and then you have to see yourself inside and check yourself. Then only you will know how much oil inside, because it is not quite obvious. In our fiqh terminology, we say that the mabi' is not actually determined. It is not. It is still classified. I mean, it is not actually clearly, explicitly is determined. So the mabi' is actually something, we call it mubham or something, right? So now they are bringing that auction. So now how they also talk about winner's curse, right? So the winner's curse is there. If someone buy it for the money that he paid, but he bought it more than that, or he bought it less than that, so they are bringing some mechanism to help to save both side, buyer and seller. So this is the idea actually to get the Nobel Prize. So I was just thinking, when I was reading this, what I remember. It reminds me one of the. It is not one of the. It is the highest, the biggest corruption of all time in India. I think. How many of you from India? Is there any student from India? I don't think. Anybody from India? No. Okay. Okay, don't hide yourself if you are from India. Okay. Back in India in 2008 and 2010, I think there was a case. They were selling this 2G spectrum. This 2G and 3G. Now we have 5G, right? 4G and 5G. So that time it was a 2G and 3G. So there was a 120 companies they wanted to buy this 2G spectrum, license, or maybe there is it's between the country and the satellite, and these, for example, Max is also one of them who bought that 2G and 3G from India, and then there are so many other companies also bought it. But when they were doing this auction, they bring the price of 2001 instead of the price for the future. So just imagine, they didn't determine the, because government is selling to the private, and private bought that auction. During that auction, there was a bidding going on. Those private companies started buying because the government was able to give in the price of 2001. So just imagine, because of that corruption, maybe some corruption happening in between. Because of that, do you know how much India lost? 40 billion US dollar. Just imagine, 40 billion US dollar India lost because of that auction bidding. So it's the kind of corruption. Somebody, just for few dollars and cents, just for the few dollars and cents, I think, they sold the entire country, the telecommunication to the private, and private companies started making money. Subhanallah. Today you must know which company is making money. Now who is making money? Come on, tell me. Now I'm talking to you and you are listening. You are listening from me, and then there is internet going on. So tell me, who is making money? You already know who is making money, right? Right? Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Is it Google?
Is it only, yeah, Google? Google is there, but is it only Google?
The internet companies?
Internet companies, of course. Internet companies actually working for Google. Of course, Google will not take money from you. Google will take money from the companies. Maybe you look like, Googles are free, because even myself also, the reason I always want to go for IIUM, the reason why, because IIUM, even though we have issues, it is ours, right? I know some people, they want to go for Google Classroom, this and that. But I feel reluctant. Sometimes I feel myself that, okay, why should I share all those documents through Google Classroom? Because Google Classroom is not actually our classroom, it's a Google's classroom, right? So that's why, even though we have issues in IIUM, so please bear with us. It will be okay, because IIUM is ours. So when we start devaluing our own things, then I know the other things will come up. So this is actually the idea of telling you. By the way, so as I told you, who is making money now is actually the telecommunication. You look at future. If there is no classes for another 2-3 semesters, just imagine, you will be spending too much for your internet. Now I think maybe like 4 months ago you had a different package, now you have different package, right? Am I right? Your parents now eager to spend more money into internet, am I right? So I think everybody say yes. Yeah, because that's why the things now is getting this way. So now this is one of the examples that I wanted to give you for this auction. Anyway, somebody actually got this Nobel Prize, of course, economist. I think you're all economists. I think that's why you're all big student. That's why you are taking this subject. So I'm just telling you, if you have a very good idea, you need to sell that idea into today's conventional economy. It's okay. You don't have to worry about today's economics. It's not Islamic economics. No, you bring your value into today's economics. That's all we want. That's all we want. You don't have to work under so-called Islamic economics or Islamic. You need to understand that what we have done last time, we have done it. All the scholars that we are going to learn, those scholars, they were doing it because there was a necessity, and then they were able to deliver it. They didn't actually, they never make it into, you know, the name of Islamic. So in my humble opinion, I will tell you, don't I mean, be Islamic, but don't name it Islamic. You don't have to name everything Islamic. You know, you don't have to come up with Islamic hospitality, Islamic tourism. Don't sell it, you know. Don't sell Islam. Just do it. Just do it, you know. Just become one. So what exactly we need to do today is actually, you know, looking into this. For example, these two gentlemen professors was able to see, you know, the mutual consent should be there. Both buyers and traders, buyers and sellers, has to get that equal profit. It shouldn't be like one guy is getting more profit. Look, that is the value. That, because these two people, they started fighting for it, fighting for the, they said auctions are good, but most of the time it's not both parties are happy. Like gambling, right? In gambling, there is no way that both parties will be happy. Are you telling me you can just, there is no way that, you know, you can stop this gambling? There is no way that, you know, you can stop this interest. For example, the banking sector, interest, everything. I want you to just come up with the solution where actually you can tell, because based on the value, you say the value is this, because both parties must be happy, but it's not happening. One party is happy, the other party is actually you know, holding the thing, but it's not generating anything. So to avoid this, so they started working for many years, and today they are getting the Nobel Prize. So now tell me, is it not Islamic? Of course they are not Muslim, but what they have done is Islamic. Right? Yeah, looking into the values, and then both parties must be happy. These are the things. So now you can actually bring all these kind of things. Anyway, this is what actually we need to look into this. So look at this figure. If you look at this figure, you will understand that, you know, Greek ideas were there. Of course, Bible were coming. Yes, of course. You know, then you have these scholastics, like we were telling. But before this Bible and Greek philosophy become into scholasticism, according to the timeline, the Muslim has contributed a lot, because Muslims are the one. Because let me tell you this, if you agree, scholastic scholars, yeah, like Thomas Aquinas, if the scholastic scholars were able to learn everything from Greek, I don't think, because Greek was using a different language, and the language of these scholastics scholars very different. Now, when I don't know their language, how am I supposed to actually learn things, their ideas? So now the big question mark is how these scholastic scholars were able to learn this Greek philosophy. They were
translate this.
Sorry?
To translate this.
Exactly. Thank you so much. So they were able to understand this, through the translators. And remember, when we say translators, their job were not only translating. They didn't translate word by word, but they translated the idea. And then they changed the idea. So many scholars learn Greek ideas and then bring into Sharia, and then makes into something, and then they started practicing, applying. Then they started writing into other languages. Then the scholastic scholars were able to take it from there. Then the mercantilism came. Then physiocracy came. Then Adam Smith became the product of that. All right. Let me just show you the last one for today. Okay. Here you can see clearly how it actually became, by looking at, Greek ideas, 300 BC, biblical sources are there. Then you have scholastic. So, but before this scholastic happens, right? You can see my cursor, right? Before this scholastic happened, then you have these Muslim scholars who learn from Greek philosophies. But these Muslim scholars, they learn from Quranic teaching and from Sunnah, right? These Muslim scholars were able to give it to the scholastic scholars, and then mercantile scholars. Then from there you have physiocrats, classical economists, then mainstream economists. Again, we have today what we are talking, we are saying today Islamic economics as a discipline. It actually came directly from Quran, directly from Muslim. This is what we are talking. But we need to also understand how this, Muslim scholars, how they have contributed into scholastics, then mercantilist, then physiocrats, then you have classical economists like Adam Smith, then you have mainstream economy. So this is actually what actually we are actually going to see, fill the gap, find that timeline, and this is how actually we are going to see for a few classes. Then we are going directly into those scholars, they are writing. From there we are going to see what are their economic views on this, particularly one by one. Then your plates are full, but you need to know how to make your recipe. Right now you need to know how to make and then give it to others. So you will be given all those studies, all those works. Now we need to decide whether I want to portray myself as the Islamic economic scholar, or should I portray an economic scholar but I bring the value into my work. So this is all the things that you need to decide later, but this is actually what the summary of this this upcoming chapter. Yeah, inshallah. So in next classes we will be inshallah discussing starting from ancient Greece. We will be talking about the major tenets of Greek philosophers. What are the tenets of Greek philosophy? Then you will be able to see is it exactly like what Islam talks? Is it exactly, because there are so many similarity you will see when we talk about Greek philosophy. Then we will talk about one by one the scholars of Greek philosophy. Then you will see that what are the similarities that found between between our scholars and Greek philosophers. And then slowly we will move into scholasticism. Then we will talk about physiocrats, and slowly then we will talk about, that's the entire brief of the before we go into Islamic economic scholars. Then we will start with Abu Yusuf. Yeah, inshallah. All right, so I will just stop here. So inshallah, if you have any questions, please you can ask me now. We have 15 more minutes. Yeah, inshallah.